Hey everybody. So I decided I might try to put a video up on the blog today instead of doing the normal writing, because we have something kind of going on that is extremely important for everyone to understand. And basically, we've sort of hit the wall with the process of clearing and rebirthing and the guides. Kind of said yesterday that they wanted me to put out a message about like this whole victim kind of patterning and mentality that we have. And it's inherent in all of us. Sometimes we don't know it's there because we have other things on top of it that seem to be more in our consciousness, or that we are really more aware of, as we experience life. And, yesterday they kind of made it clear, actually all week. I mean, today's Friday, December 9th, and in all the sessions this week, they basically stood back and said, look, we're just going to lay it on the line. And we're going to just let you know that if you guys, any of you individually, just really want to feed into your victim stuff and want to hold on to it and want to feel sorry for yourself, they said, make no mistake that you will create some sort of drama and take yourself out of here, because the vibrations that we have right now are so volatile, and people really don't get, no matter how many lessons we put out on energy and how energy behaves and how our bodies are organically energy and they respond to energy and they create with energy, people still aren't getting the connection between how they feel and how they live. And so the guide said, we can't, and they wanted me to remind everybody of this. It's like, we can't override your free will, not in any universe. It's like you are the creator, and we really must abide by your choices. And so if we walk alongside of you in life and we do our very, very best to provide you with insights, to provide you with support, to humor you, to sort of put obstacles in your path, to teach you lessons, to do what it is that we are here to do, and you choose not to abide by what we are offering, or choose to respect the advice that we give you or the truth. But there's a learning curve in there for us, in terms of understanding our own behaviors. But when it gets down to people that really are aware of, and they know that they just feed into their own self-sabotage and self-destructive behaviors, and they just love, to be a victim and love to create dramas and just love to, go back into their past and find a reason, why they can't change or why they can't let go, and find a reason why they like to be victims. Obviously there's a clear resistance there, but there's a clear defiance in terms of the guides offering you up opportunity to let go of being a victim and stop whining about how you don't have this and you can't do that, because obviously if you're holding up a mentality of a victim, then you are essentially powerless, and you choose to be that way. I mean, there's nothing, in your awareness or your essence or your body which wouldn't allow an archetype pattern or a victim pattern or any other pattern to clear. It's science, and there's no way that you could clear one thing and not clear something else. It's all about what you want to clear, what you choose to clear, and then what you want to hold on or to choose to hold on to. And that's what they're talking about. They're not judging, they're not berating, they're just saying, look, we're at the point now where there's really nothing else we can do for you unless you choose to let go of being a victim. And I don't know anybody who might hear this or listen to this. I'm sure it's going to piss off a lot of people, but isn't that just the way a victim would react to the truth? It's like, I don't want to hear that crap. I don't want you to tell me that I can't feel sorry for myself anymore, or I can't live in drama, or I can't just keep creating these things. No, you can do whatever you want. All their message is about is they're saying, we can't do anything else. Like, we hold the space for you. We walk beside you. Even in your darkest times, we're always there. We do everything we can to help you to awaken, help you recognize your own behaviors, help you to see, what you need to learn about taking responsibility. And in the event that you know all this, I mean, you're advanced souls, you're awake, you know, and in that case, it's basically they're saying, look, if you want to sit in the corner and lick your wounds and feel sorry for yourself, well, you go ahead, because we have to honor your free will. And if that's your choice, we're going to honor that, because there isn't anything else we could do. And if you think of an archetypal harmonic, the victim is all the way at the bottom, and the starborn, or the creator essence, is all the way at the top. And it's not like a hierarchy type of thing. It's a vibrational thing. And I'm sure by now you guys know that, these vibrations of being a victim and being all empowered, they can't possibly coexist in the same space. So it's a choice now that needs to be made. Are you going to be all empowered, or are you going to continue to be a victim? I mean, it's that simple. And you can get as pissed off as you want. You can run as much resentment as you want. You can blame as much as you want. You can whatever. But the bottom line is, if you continue to do it now, you are going to start causing things to happen to yourself and in your life that you're going to wish you never even came across. And it's not a threat. It's just the way it works. Think about physics. That's the simplest explanation. Water seeks its own level. So if you're running all this victim stuff and feeling sorry for yourself, then you're just going to draw experiences to you that are going to show you that you're a victim. And God, who would want that? Especially now with how things are changing, and energy is pretty much working. For those who understand their own empowerment, it works from thought to reality. So if that's the kind of energy language we're in, then any thought, fear-based, anger, whatever it is, you're going to create it right away. There's not going to be a time lapse. There's no more learning curve, right? It's done. You guys are advanced souls. You know enough now not to do the pity party thing. So they're basically just saying, we're here, we love you, we'll do what we can to help you. But if you choose to remain a victim, then we have to tell you, we have to step out, because there's nothing more we can do for you. And believe me, I get it. Working on yourself, doing this deep internal work sometimes is extremely exhaustive. And, after a while, you just get saturated. But here's the question. Why does it go on and on? Like, why doesn't it end? Like, what part of you won't let it end? And what part of you still wants to be that victim that says, like, I'm still not worthy, I'm still not good enough, I'm still flawed, there's still things wrong with me, and I have to keep finding what those things are. It's like, you really got to sit down at this point and really take stock of your true thoughts and your true behaviors, and figure out if you're, in that category, and just be willing to get up every day and say, everything I choose today will be for the best and highest good of everyone involved. Like, I'm just going to move forward now. We don't know what's coming down the pike all the way, but I can tell you that they've been marking December 21st, which I know is the solstice. And that's not the reason they're marking it. They kept telling me things are going to, you really have to get to this victim thing in people. And a couple of weeks ago during a class, they said at the end of the class, we're calling you guys in for an intensive. We're putting out the call. We need you to step in. And thankfully, people stepped in, because they must have known something is very important that's coming. I realize not everybody is in this area or can't do an intensive, but there's other things you can do to get to the bottom and make sure that you're not running that victim thing. Because the cycle of the victim is victim, hero, martyr. And if you think about that and you reflect on relationship things in your life, job situations, how you view yourself, you're probably going to see that dynamic. You think you're doing a good thing, and you step in and you want to, like, rescue people or rescue somebody. And then those people turn on you because they don't really want to be, they don't want to be fixed. They don't want to be rescued. And then you feel like your hero has just become martyred. And then you fall back into that victim. If you're attracting that in your life, then you definitely have those patterns. You wouldn't attract it otherwise. You wouldn't have anything to do with that. So there's a difference between caring and kindness and giving, compassionately, and needing to fix, people needing to do this as an identity piece. So you definitely want to check in on that victim and make sure that you're not really holding on to it. And it's an easy thing to spot if you're blaming other people, if you're not taking responsibility, if you find excuses for behaviors that you know are really coming from lies, like in relationships. If it's easier for you to step out of the relationship than confront the fact that the relationship might be over and maybe never was the right thing for you, it's like you have to really look at where you're upholding lies and you're making excuses for it. And then realize that the underlying crisis is because you feel weak in some way or disempowered and you're behaving like a victim. And, people talk about change forever. Change is my business. DNA transformation, it is change. And I know it scares a lot of people because people are afraid of change. They want it, but when they realize that it means they have to be absolutely honest and truthful with themselves all the time, then they don't want it anymore. They want to go back to being in denial or hiding in their corner or licking their wounds, and that's fine. But the idea that everything in this universe is expanding, life around us is changing. If we don't change vibrationally to make that synastry happen with our environment, we're going to start to suffer the consequences. And that's exactly what happens when people get sick, when they have cancer or other illnesses. It's because they're not meeting vibrationally the truth in themselves and outside of themselves. So, it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes when we feel what change really means to us and what we're so afraid of in the process of change. We don't want to confront our security. We don't want to confront our comfort. We're afraid, like, oh, if I walk out of this, relationship or this job, like it's going to change everything. And then what am I going to do? And it puts us back into survival fear. And of course, survival fear means that somewhere along the way, you've been a victim, right? So you have to think about these things not as like all these separate behaviors. They're all symptoms of one thing: survival fear and victimization. So you got to get to them. You cannot just let them run and think by not paying attention you're doing something. You're not. Not making a choice is a choice. And all that means is whatever disease is happening in your life, whether it's emotionally, physically, financially, mentally, it just means that disease is just going to keep getting worse and worse. And it's going to keep eating away at everything in your life that you think you cherish or that you hold dear. And we're done. We're not like kids on the playground anymore. We're adults now. We are advanced souls, and we need to live like advanced souls. I'm tired of people always saying, oh, the change, and blaming. And then when I say, well, what are you doing about it? Like, what are you doing in yourself to create that change? You're just as bad as the people that you're blaming, because all you're doing is throwing negative energy at the situation, and you're not creating anything differently. So the guides really said to me, you have to make this statement loud and clear, and that's all you can do. After you put it out there, that's all you can do. If people don't respond, if they don't find a way to get out of that victim thing, like, so be it. So this is us, me and all of them that you probably, well, some of you might see them hanging out in here, and their last kind of plea for you to seriously consider where you're at as far as your victim mentality and do something about it. Becoming aware of it isn't enough. You have to make a choice not to be a victim. And for God's sakes, if you need help, like, that you can find help in a number of ways. Like that's part of the whole victim thing is like, oh, I'm by myself and nobody helps me and there's no help and nobody can help me. No, you're just being a victim. So enough is enough. I mean, they're really fired up about it. And I guess because it's so important and they don't know how else to get people to respond if they're just not responding to, the awareness and the other things that are put right in front of them. So pass on the message, apply it to yourself, do some writing, do some meditating, do whatever you have to do to get to your root issues around being a victim. Looking at the symptoms is good for guidance in terms of walking yourself backward through those symptoms and then coming to the real core of the victim. And if you look at your childhood, because a lot of times whatever you're carrying from other lifetimes, which is usually where these things start, it shows up in your childhood. And if you can identify the source of your unworthiness or the source of your depression or your grief in childhood, then you've most likely got a pretty good grip on what still makes you a victim today. And you might think like, oh, I'm going to grow, I've outgrown that. I don't think about that. But remember, it's an energetic imprint. And just because your mind doesn't see it, doesn't understand that it might still be there, your body certainly does. You have to address it emotionally and energetically. We're really good at surviving here. We're good at, denying, separating, pushing things away, ignoring them, because that's how we survived. But now, like, we can't keep the volcano down. Like, the dam is rising. We have to meet it, and there's just no way around it. So, like I said, do your best. And if you need help, you know where to find me. You certainly know how to call in your guides, sit with it. The thing is, you have to invest yourself in doing the work. You can't just assume that because you understand it, it's done. You've got to do the work. They keep saying, invest yourself. Put down your phone, turn off your TV, sit yourself down, get a piece of paper and a pen and do some writing. Invest yourself in the meaning of your own truth, in the meaning of your own life. Invest yourself. We live in the mental plane here, but we need to get all the way into the body. We need to understand what's happening to us. If we ever want to stop illness from happening, why would we want to be a world where we have to find cures? Why wouldn't we want to be a group of souls, the starborn scientists that we are, and find those things in us that understand energetically how to prevent, how to create change before, these horrible things happen. And it's a reality that we can all uphold if we just understand it and we believe that it's real and that it's possible. But if you're a victim, there is no way you are changing realities. So this is what, of course, the guides want to tell you today. And hopefully you've heard them. Hopefully you felt them, in this little transmission that they've given you, because they show up energetically. Even if you're looking at me, it's their vibration that you're getting. And hopefully it's going to help, kind of shake that tree out a little bit. And anybody can do it. It's just a matter of taking the time away from everything else for you. I mean, you can't uphold a life if you aren't solid, if you aren't healed, if your foundation isn't strong. Everything around you is going to fall apart when you fall apart. So if you really want to uphold something consistently and in a very committed, sustainable way, you have to start with yourself. You need to get in that body and you need to go all the way down to those lower chakras and you need to feel what's in there. You need to look at your life, look at your responses to things and figure out where that victim piece is in you. And you need to deal with it simply, clearly, and immediately. Done. No more victim. I am all powerful. Everything I do is for the best and highest good of everyone involved. I'm surrendering all of this lie within me. And the truth is, we are all creators. We use our free will all the time. But some of us like to pretend otherwise. And we'd like to pretend we're victims, or we think we're victims because we've been beaten to a place of such unworthiness that we can't find our way out. So at that level, the core of it is the unworthiness. And the question is, do you believe you're worthy, or do you believe what your experiences have told you? And that's what you have to decide. The only change around unworthiness can come from you. That's it. It can't be from a person in your life. It has to come from you. You have to know that you're worthy, regardless of the interactions that you've had with other people. Because a lot of times when you bring the light, it shines that light on all of the darkness in people, and they don't like it. So they turn that around and they project it back to you, and they make you feel like you're doing something wrong, or you're the failure, or you're the horrible thing, when the truth is you just shine the light on them. And that is how these things start to become so convoluted in us that we think we're not good enough, when the truth is you probably were more than everybody else around you, and that's what started it. So check back for more updates on the blog, which is loveexpanded.com. And, like I said, you've got to talk to people around you, and you've got to help them to see, this whole issue around being a victim, because it's not going to be good. The progression or the regression in the body is going to be rapid. The deterioration will be rapid. We don't want that, right? We want to stop this for the best that we can. So talk to people, see if you can help them out. And of course, by all means, make sure you help yourself first. Alrighty. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next side. Okay.